All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 9. Oh,
right.
shit.
Last episode gave me the biggest okay. We are building up to something crazy here, and what we built up to was a punch, but might get followed up with something internal for Thorfin.
Yeah.
And given that he threw the first punch, even though they were probably the ones that sabotaged their crops.
And they told Pater and showed him the fields, which is good.
Yep.
That still probably won't be enough because, oh, hey, while it might be enough for your actual owner and boss, there's this rambunctious son that's here that...
Yeah, things are going to get complicated when it comes to the, people pointing at each other, and very much not going to be a simple solution.
But hey, PTSD flashbacks mid-fight.
Yeah, this is going to lead to some character development for Thorfin, and I'm very excited for this because even if he doesn't necessarily change quickly, him having some introspection and some stuff dredged up to the surface by his his act of violence, really.
That
thing that reminds him of who he used to be.
And that maybe this kind of violence is different.
Yeah, and maybe it's not fully someone that he used to be, but it's someone that he has a corpse in his closet that he can resuscitate.
And maybe air out.
And maybe needs to get, brought to the
the surface
and actually immolated and
right,
gentle repose.
Because
you're into this thing and
you're not that person anymore, Thorfin. No one looking at you would think that you used to be a warrior.
Yeah, and yet you threw the first punch.
Yeah, I mean, it was that or letting your boy throw the first punch.
I mean, yeah,
but fight happens. There you go.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Whoa. A goat? Goatland Saga? Oh, the theme. That's beautiful. Oh,
fuck.
Oh.
He's all carefree. Wow. Einar just beat everybody else. Yeah, maybe discretion is the better part of valor. It is kind of nice though that they took on 5 guys for themselves.
I mean, no, it's just Einar.
Yeah.
Thorfin just basically took one out, and that was it.
Yeah. And then it's gonna cut to Einar, isn't it?
No, I think he's gonna be here for a bit.
His Thor's gonna judge him.
You shouldn't be here. Oh.
Fuck.
Oh, and now he's back.
Yep.
So many. Oh, little kid Einar. Oh. Nice. Oh. Wow, this is powerful. Having him. Oh. Oh. Nobody.
But I love that he also saw the warrior figure of his father here too.
Oh, like the fall at the end of the season, yeah. Oh. Ah. Okay, so he's climbing up to reach his father and go back to that place of peace, like Vinland. Oh my god.
Okay. Fuck.
Oh!
He's not so lucky for the dream to end when
here's
it
the
falls.
river. Oh. Oh, a river of blood?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
It's a place for people like you. Other killers, other... Yeah. Other... Oh. Oh, sure. Valhalla, a place...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Endless
you can see it
combat.
this way, and now he sees it for what it is. Oh my god. Just eternal combat and... Wow.
And they're all laughing. Yeah.
Oh, but you can even see people from... God, look at this art! Holy shit!
This is beautiful and horrifying.
Right, and they just get back up. Oh, hey. Yeah, Björn.
Yep, I was waiting for that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Addressing him directly.
And he...
A father above, a father below.
Yeah. Well, but not a part of the warrior lifestyle, right? Like he's
Well, I mean, he is down here.
he's down here, but he's not fighting amongst them.
Yeah,
you know?
he's amongst them, but he's choosing not to engage. Yeah. Oh, this is perfect. Already. Wow.
Pep talk from one dad, and now pep talk from the other.
I've missed Askeladd. This is a perfect way to... Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. This is incredible. Like, this is so good.
And I love that Askeladd is, like, trapped on top of just a pillar. Like, he's not a part of it, but he can't move, he can't get out.
Right. Yep. Look closely, you might find yourself there. You know?
Shit.
Some of them wish they could. Yeah, like Björn, yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Oh, yeah. What are you gonna fill that vessel with? Yeah. Oh. God. Oh. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, you better move.
Oh my God. God. I love these like delving into the dark places of your soul kind of moments and stories.
And this is all Thorfin.
Oh, all of them.
Fuck.
And that's why they're specifically
Going after
towards
him.
you. Oh my God. This reminds me of the theme in Lord of the Rings of the Dead Marshes.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's shifting with the piano. Wow. Oh, you're gonna go down there and protect him from the archers?
Yeah.
Fucking
That's what he was doing in
Askeladd!
life.
Yeah! Yeah!
Nope.
Go up! Yeah!
Get going. Don't waste your time with
Yeah!
ifs or should-haves or if-onlys.
That's your battle! Oh, that's perfect! Oh! A true warrior, exactly!
Yeah.
Yeah! Oh! Yes! Look at this!
And he wakes up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, hey you. You're finally awake.
Did we beat him? Now time to fight the harder one.
No, we're bouncing back. Wow. Those eyes.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa.
Holy shit.
Whoa. Holy shit, bro.
This is gonna be,
Oh. Yeah.
All right. That's gonna be really tough.
Potter in the background communicated what happened.
Oh, he found some proof? Oh!
Oh, wait.
Nice.
Wow.
All right.
I think Potter lied and placed it there.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
The process of rebirth begins now.
And his voice is all earnest.
I know. Yep. Perfect. All right, I think we've just watched one of the best episodes of Vinland Saga ever.
That was absolutely beautiful.
This is a monumental moment, not just for the show, but for Thorfin as a character. He has taken the steps towards rebirth, not redemption, but rebirth. And I really like that fun distinction there, because he bathed in the blood of so many. He was in the river down there.
Yeah.
And that vision showed the distinction between where he is now, empty, and versus where he was, filled with hate and rage and violence and
Right.
and bloodlust and all these things that made him just like any of the others down there. And while he isn't, climbing necessarily all the time, the fight involves you climbing up this like that imagery just feels so like we could spend so much time just on that. Just
Yeah.
on that kind of iconic aspect of it.
The imagery in this episode was absolutely on point. I especially liked the whole idea of, oh, is this Valhalla, right? You know, just the endless
Right.
endless combat, and who knows, maybe that's, you know, maybe that was one of the examples of the things that he would see in his dreams that would make him wake up screaming, even though he didn't really remember what, you know,
Right.
all of the stuff that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
this was his nightmare, that he was in that probably, or that he would fall back into that.
Right, exactly.
And he was only ever getting, like you're saying, like glimpses.
Yep. He was just on the edge of, you know, he was, because the fact that he was aware that he was in the process of climbing out from that, right? And so then that makes sense that with the punch, that would be the big upset in his mind, right? Where then he falls all the way back down.
And he slides.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
And the thing is that I still don't think there was anything wrong with that punch at all. And that, but the thing is that Thorfin, because he turned to violence to such an extreme, he now needs to,
In his past, yeah.
right, he now needs to turn away from violence in an equally extreme measure in order to really know for himself that he has broken out of that.
Well, it's the difference between being empty of violence and being filled with peace. The idea that he sees himself as one who is struggling to climb out of this pit of violence, that's great and all, but if you're just eternally climbing, you are nothing but a climber, basically.
Right.
I think Askeladd's point was that your emptiness separates you now from this, which is great because of your harsh transition in life that basically led you to being a slave. But what are you going to fill yourself with? Who are you going to be? Because
in a lot of ways,
if he's not Thorfin the warrior, or if true warrior or whatever, you could then go for Thorfin, like, do you have love? Do you have like something else you can fill that with? Because if you do, then you won't have to be constantly resisting the fall, the gravity to go back to this, but it's no, now I am attracted to, now I'm drawn towards this other thing, and thus all the other things fade into the background.
Yeah, that adds even more to the aspects of why I love Askeladd's imagery of being on the pillar so much.
Yes.
Because in a lot of ways, even though he was down there with the killing and stuff and the warrior thing and all that, he had in a lot of ways found acceptance. He wasn't needing to climb anymore. He found his place of stability where he wasn't, he was in it, but he wasn't affected by it, right? He wasn't,
it might have just been a reprieve, because his sword was hacked to pieces,
Totally, yes.
Yeah.
But when I think of the situation that Thorfin is in,
Sure.
forget morality and atonement. What you need is acceptance at some point, right?
Right.
He is not able to do that yet. Very understandable. He's taking these steps to now, all right, I'm going to begin my journey of atonement. Sure. And that you haven't necessarily been doing so far, but you have been absolutely paying penance up until now, right? So because that's what everything was up until this point. That's why he was so down on himself, because he knew, oh my God, I did all of these terrible, horrific things. How I don't even deserve to live, right?
Right.
I'll stand here and let myself get cut. If I were to be killed, that would be the world would be a better place,
Right. And the reason for that being then a thing where the punch sends him back down here is because it's not just that he acted in violence or in rage. It's the idea that if he follows that path where it then leads to him rejecting the pull, basically, of the dead, he then has to find a reason to live. And if he has to find a reason to live, he can't be empty. An empty man is a dead man. Now, there are ways in which you can be essentially empty from like a spiritual and mental perspective, and thus attain some level of peace. And I would call it almost like something where a lot of cultures focus on emptiness as a way to meditate.
Sure.
But once you've finished that, then you take time to
Replace what was there.
Or not replace, but to just gingerly add things that are like only the minimal things that are actually needed, because you don't actually need too much in you in order to be a healthy, whole person in that regard.
And if you stay empty, old habits will come back, right?
Right.
And that's what the real fear was in my mind with the punch, right?
Yeah.
It's not that he doesn't understand the reasons for why he punched the people. Yes, was it?
I mean, in hindsight,
Also-
it's 2020.
Right. Hindsight's 2020.
In the moment, it's just I'm
Yeah.
going to do this because yep, this is what makes sense pattern-wise.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But the person that he was is so terrifying to him
Yeah.
that it's the no.
What have I done? Oh, God, yeah.
And I could see the way that this could have gone further.
Yes.
Right. That this one little slip up could then turn into a slippery slope, and then
Yeah.
and then suddenly I'm back down there in the warrior life again. Right.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where Thorfin, as a child, didn't realize the value of life really until his father died.
Sure.
But even then, after that, the event was so traumatic and horrific, he didn't even align his life with the value of life being a value.
Yeah,
like even an integer, a specific thing that he could even point at and go, that's what that is. So this moment here where he punches the guy and realizes, oh shit, I'm so strong.
I
That
could have
warrior
killed that
in
guy.
me I could have killed him in one punch,
Yep.
and it would have been just
regardless
another
of what
regardless of justification or
trying to
anything
keep
like that.
Einar safe
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. I would have been right back in that pit again.
Yep.
And because I'm so empty, if I filled myself with the next thing being violence and hatred,
Yep.
I don't know what I would do with myself.
This
I'm
is
already
where,
suffering at night, empty,
Yep.
just from the memories of all this.
and that's where I love so much how all of the different people in Thorfinn's life were used in the visions
Vision, yeah.
for what's going on, because
Let's go through it, can
yeah,
we?
Yeah, so
Thor's first.
Thor's first,
Oh.
he's
My God.
he's coming to save him, right? The
Thor's bit is so powerful. Like, I want to settle here on
Yes.
the Thor's bit for a bit.
because Thorfinn, he's just happy. He's in a field of grass,
He's a child again. You can
Yep.
hear it in his voice.
Yep, and there's a little sheep that's just like
Little tiny
cozying up
lamb.
to him. Yep, and it's just like,
innocent
hey,
and white and
Yep.
nothing staining
care in
him.
the world.
Not a care in the world.
Right. And then-
Even separated from the flock
Yes.
and still
Oh,
completely clean
It-
and absolutely fine.
Yeah, I like there's straight up a part of me that wonders how specific the lamb being lost thing, and then Thor's coming to save the lamb when it's separated from the flock and everything, right?
I mean, this story does use some Christian
it
stuff
definitely
there.
uses a lot of Christian stuff in here to get its themes and everything, so I could absolutely see that being the case. Thor's has been both thematically in the beginning absolutely set up as like the not just the father figure, but like the heavenly father kind of Jesus, archetype. And then even the priest, was like, wait, what? Only one person has been able to love, and then, oh, what about this guy?
Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah, there's definitely a semblance of the divine that's attached to Thor's persona that he walked in, even if Thor's himself was
just
in some ways
another dude.
Well, right, but in some ways a vision of what Thorfinn could become, but also eventually surpass, because Thor's spent so much of his life in the life of a warrior. In some ways, the fact that just Thorfinn is having this moment, this rebirth starting now at this age, that's already showing
Right, you
a
got a
way
head
in which
start.
he's going to go beyond your father
Yep.
and learn not just the true battle, but the way in which you can carry that that presence, that persona, that thing beyond your actual capacity, because of how people are going to perceive it when you meet violence with
Exactly.
peace.
Right.
Or,
Askeladd had no response other than "Will you lead us?" Right.
right. He immediately was just like, that is
That's incredible.
that is
right?
supernatural. That is
But
incredible.
So then the thing is that because all of the people in here are not actually those people, they're Thorfinn's memories of those people.
Can we go back to the Thor's bit still?
No, it's still talking about the Thor's
Oh,
bit.
okay.
We go from Thor's, being like, hey, Thorfinn, my son, and all that, right? And then he goes to the, I smell blood on you. You have no enemies.
Right.
And it becomes something of the because you have no enemies, you had no right to do this, and I am judging you, right? Which is, of course, terrifying for Thorfin, right? You know, the idea that, oh my God, if my dad were still alive, he would hate me, he would see me as despicable, et cetera, right?
Right, because that's not how Thor's would
But that's not how Thor's would respond. It's the same words, but entirely different meaning, right?
Yeah.
When he says you have no enemies, it's not as something that is prescriptive of you must see everyone as not being your enemy. It's descriptive of you have nothing to worry about, right? And that includes also you are also not your enemy, right? So, you know, but Thorfin can't quite get that because of the situation that he's in, because he's in the midst of all of this.
Yeah.
But he ends up, you know.
Yeah, because it's the look what I did.
Right.
I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sees all the different versions of his father, right?
Yeah. I loved that this here then led to him accepting you don't have any enemies. He's suddenly a kid again. But the hands that touched him in this little vision here
for a moment are gone.
For a moment are gone and then become the hands of those that he's killed. And I love that this imagery here of, you know, the shadow being cast over Thorfin by the fact that the light's coming from Thor's side here. But, like...
Thor's is also being pulled down.
Exactly.
Right.
Thor's is being pulled down by his own demons. His own skeletons, the ones that he killed as well, showing that you can come to the realization of something that takes you beyond your circumstances or your past or your mistakes or what have you, even if you didn't live it. The idea that Thor's came to this realization in spite of the fact that he was a mass, you know, murderer warrior and stuff like that.
Yep.
So Thorfin, this is your hope. This is your shining, this is your shining light. And even though you're enshadowed right now, that shadow is being cast from your father here, who's telling you the things that he learned so that you can go beyond him.
Right.
And I love so much the way the dagger is used to fall.
Yeah, and break open the ground.
Right. In this specific moment here, and that moment in the end of season 1 was one where I thought maybe Thorfin would get reborn in some ways from that time where Askeladd's words would reach him. But the idea that, no, if anything, it just led him to the place where he became empty.
In a lot of ways.
I love that it just took this extra step here as well.
Theoretically, you could... Thorfin needed to go on this journey, and that's why he's here, right? Because, you know, even back then, he could tell that something was wrong, even if he didn't know what it was or where to go or how to deal with it, right? But in a lot of ways, from a practical standpoint, he is now worse off because he can see the Valhalla, right? The place where all the you know, the warriors go.
Right.
Because if he hadn't, well, you know, yeah, maybe he'd be in it, but this is all something of his own making anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like Björn probably, you know, had a pretty great life from his perspective, you know, just like, yeah, I do my thing and that's that. But now, because you can see it, then it takes on this whole life of its own in your head that you can't reconcile. And so then you need Askeladd to tell you, hey, what are you doing, man? Like... Don't you want to get back to climbing? Like,
right. No, this isn't the afterlife. This is just real life, man.
Yep.
This is just where all warriors end up. No victory. Everyone is your enemy.
Yeah.
God. Okay. So Askeladd here. So, best character in season 1 by far. So many other incredible characters in this story, but the way in which Askeladd is brought back here to then kind of be this moment of reflection and distinction or discrimination, if you will, because Askeladd is separate.
Yes.
Which I I have to take also another added little thing there, because if it's Askeladd found a bit of balance in here, and I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I think Askeladd's main thing here is that this is how Thorfin sees him.
Right. Yes.
And
I
it's
thought you were going to say that.
The idea that him being slightly above it all is more just that there was a special bit of importance given to Askeladd being this one here who was like the extra like special warrior, and rather than being one that was the just the focus of his hatred, he was also one that Thorfin respected. I also find it to be rather cool that this is a ruined place that they're in. You know, these pillars kind of are keeping the place from caving under. If you look, I believe most of them go into the ceiling. Oh wait, no, they do not. No, they do not. Okay. Well, it gives me also a little bit of that whole thing of him being like a...
Yeah, it is Roman architecture.
Yeah, a little bit of a relic as well, yeah.
But, like, it's something where Thorfin is basically giving all of these exceptions to warriors that he knew.
Exactly.
Right? And because of that, he's fucked, right? He can't, even when the light is coming from the direction of his father, he still sees it as something of despair because I can't be like you. No, you're exactly like your dad. You're just not as far along yet, right?
So
like you're in the middle of the transition.
Yeah, in some ways, you are so free. You have no enemies.
Right.
And thus, you can
do whatever you want. Like, even if you decided you wanted to go back down there into being a warrior, you could do that. You could do that, right? The problem is if it's a half-hearted decision, which was really the problem with Askeladd in the beginning too, right?
True.
He wanted to kill him, but also not really, right? Because, by that time he kind of knew, even if he didn't consciously know, that I need this guy, I care about this guy, I want to kill him, but not because I want to kill him, because I want to settle what's so, chaotic and turbulent in my heart, right?
Yeah.
And because I'm not actually addressing that, then I can't get anywhere,
right?
And then Askeladd,
I love his little bit after he'd kind of done his little lamenting, and then Askeladd's like, me. Good grief, a little soul searching is all well and good, but try to keep your eyes open. I love that he then uses this to transition to the fact that all the corpses of the people that he's killed are trying to drag him down. But in a lot of ways, there's a couple other things that could be looked at here. All elements of this walk, this life that you have now, Thorfin, you will never be able to undo the fact of what you've done, right?
Right.
That's all well and good. So the idea of do a little soul searching, acknowledge and accept and be aware of what you've done and who you are.
And that you do not want to be that person anymore.
Right. But sometimes a little bit of that soul searching ends up kind of being navel gazing, where you're actually not looking around, you're not looking ahead, you're not guiding yourself in a direction.
Shame.
Yeah, exactly. You're shame. And I love that it's Askeladd being like, look around you, but not looking up. He's basically saying, look them in the eye. Look at the ones that you killed. Don't turn away from them because you're so upset with who you are and what you've done. Accept the fact that this is what you did. This is who you have tethered to you now.
But you are letting them pull you back down into being a warrior in a weird way. Because you're so focused on the fact that you did it rather than what you want to do now.
Except I have a weird thought here.
Yeah?
I don't think they're actually trying to
pull him back down. They're trying to say, get out of here.
Or can you lift us up with you?
Sure. Yeah.
And then he's saying you're kicking them? How cruel. Shouldn't you lend an ear to their complaints? And then as they're coming up, you can see that the one crying here isn't even really trying to pull. Now, maybe it's because they're corpses and it's all, symbolic and stuff. But I think there's a possibility that they see a path out.
Sure.
And while, we're not going to get
the metaphor kind of breaks down at that point, because these people weren't warriors and stuff and all that.
Well, right. But I believe Askeladd mentions, something here once once he goes down to help kill the archers is, even if they're hanging off you, keep climbing. Climb. That's your battle. I think he says something here like, or at least it gave me the interpretation of, yes, take the people you killed with you.
Right.
Yeah. This like clinched it for me. The idea that it's not about you being untethered and detached and completely ignoring.
Right. Because that's the reason that Thorfin hasn't been able to forgive himself.
Right.
He lives in shame because he believes that to live without shame would be to be callous or cavalier about all the people that he killed.
To ignore them. When in actuality, by doing it this way, your fear has made you ignore them.
Right.
And so
One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it and all that.
Yeah. And now, if he can take them with him, the idea that you live with actual like purpose and desire and focus with all these people being dragged along with you, you might find that suddenly that burden becomes a lot lighter because you're not focused on destroying yourself because of what you did.
And you're stronger than you think.
Yeah,
you might look at it and think, oh my God, there's hundreds of people. How could I ever carry hundreds of people?
Right. But then the second he decides to become a true warrior, he races to the top.
Yep.
It's not even a struggle. It
goes full on black and white, other than the bloody fingers.
Yeah, this art here, but just the idea that he struggled more falling down than he did climbing up.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that so powerful? The idea that as he was falling, he's bang hitting his head. His fingernails are scraping off. All that was more painful and hard and difficult and took even more time than just the, okay, cool, I'm going to climb back up.
And the fact that there's something that feels so I don't know, beautiful about the fact that, yes, Askeladd goes and fights the archers to save him.
Right.
Of course he does. Yeah. Right. And
because that's an extension of Thorfin as well. Yeah.
Well, no, exactly.
Right.
Askeladd fighting archers is what Askeladd would do in that situation, I believe, right? And so that's beautiful from that standpoint. But the fact that it's specifically, this is Thorfin who's essentially doing
this is all Thorfin's inner world,
right? That goes to show that Thorfin understood that aspect of Askeladd, and two, that he is achieving that level of basically balance, acceptance, etc. Because it's the no, those archers were of my own making anyways, right? Yeah. The fact that they weren't hitting me was because I was still holding on to the edge, not because they couldn't hit me.
Exactly.
Right? And so then, Askeladd going and jumping down into it, right? That goes to show that Thorfin is not scared of the place of being the warrior, I'm going to say, right? And because of that, he's able to deal with it and he's able to actually escape. Because if he was still afraid of it, then he would be focusing on it. The archers would all hit him and he would fall into it, right?
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be a warrior after this. I mean, he will be, but a different kind. He is going to take his whole, vow against violence very, very seriously.
Right.
But it's not coming from a place of fear. Right. It's coming from a place of acceptance and decision, right? So, fantastic. What more could we want?
Yeah. And the image of him also just reaching up to the sky as his moment of rebirth happens here,
to the point that it actually makes him sit upright.
Right.
Yeah. And also there's just something that it was just sort of making me think of, right? Very similar to how he wakes up from his dreams in general.
Yes.
Now, there's the aspect of it where it's and it's different this time, right? But there's also that part of me that wonders, what if it was something where maybe he was having similar dreams, but he couldn't quite make that last step. He couldn't accept it, right? Even when the path out was laid out before him, nope, I can't accept that. And so he doesn't remember the dreams.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's interesting.
But now that he got a brother, now that he saw the way in which, while the violence came from a place of rage, it also was done to protect Einar, right? And then there you go.
But that's the crazy thing though, is that he doesn't just say, I'm swearing off killing people. He doesn't just say, no,
Batman, I didn't quite kill you stuff.
Right. This this is going to be the man of peace.
Right.
Like,
even when you had someone
face of people like actively hurting you.
Yeah, that really would seem like enemies, right? I'm not even going to punch him.
Yeah.
Like that's like Thorfin, I love you. Good luck. That is beyond even what Thor's was willing to do. Because Thor's still, when there were people who,
came after his son.
And even his family and the people around him, he's still like, I mean, I'm gonna punch a fool. I'll just make sure that his was the Batman style.
Right. But in some ways, that's the other part of Thor's that was brought in even earlier in the show, which is the part when they come in and they're going for the slave.
Yes.
I see a very cool little bit of symbolism here.
Yeah.
Remember what he trades?
Almost the entire flock. Like.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But just the idea of like, I believe they were cows, not sheep.
I think there were goats.
Goats. That's right. They were goats. Mm-hmm. But just the idea of, I will go after the sickly, starving, bleeding.
Yeah, the
broken, lost one.
The person who died, even with that whole situation, right?
Right. I think it's something about showing the value of life to the point where he won't even let others commit violence against somebody else.
Yep.
In those instances there, to the point where Thor's made a economically stupid decision.
Right.
But a decision that showcased immensely the kind of person he was. Mm-hmm. And I think if Thorfin is going to go beyond that, the element that I would say beyond that is so incredible is potentially the person that ends up freeing others from the cycle of violence.
Well,
I feel like there's a direction here in the story that they could take this, where Thorfin is not some kind of leader revolutionary necessarily.
Nah.
But it's that he encounters people in their story and shows them basically another way.
Here's my idea that's circling around in my brain space.
Yeah.
How is this going to work with Canute? Because when Canute was like, I'm going to go do my thing and become king and all that stuff, there's sort of the idea that, okay, and then Thorfin is going to be like one of his main dudes that helps him out probably, right? Well, this Thorfin, no. My theory is that Canute was close, but he didn't quite get it right because he's still doing the whole go to war thing and everything. And I think that Thorfin is going to be the one that ends up going back to him, and he'll be so utterly shocked because their places will have swapped, right? Even though Canute still has good intentions and is trying to make that better world and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Then Thorfin will be able to basically, not even help him in the traditional way that people would expect, but maybe as like an advisor or whatever, right? He'll go and they'll have some very interesting conversations that will probably impact a hell of a lot of people, right? And, hey, Thorfin, maybe that wouldn't have been able to happen if not for the fact that Thor's died, if not for the fact that you went on this whole journey, right? Now, this is based off of history to an extent, so, who knows what'll actually happen, but that's my thought, basically, of how Thorfin will still be very influential in the plot, while at the same time not, holding up to his new vow of not going to hurt anyone.
I think at this point, though, we can actually say that we're finally going to start Vinland Saga.
Sure.
Because he's going to have his eyes set on Vinland. Not just, the crossing the Atlantic Ocean, Vinland, but a sight, a vision of something where there's no slaves, there's no violence, there's no war, there's no need for warriors. And he can tap into maybe a little bit of that other side of things with one of his other father figures out there who's been looking for him for a while.
Yeah.
Mr. Leif Erikson.
Yep. And that would be rather fitting as a way to showcase him going further than Thor's did. In the what kind of community does Thorfin build? Yeah. Because Thor's...
That could be why we're here in a kind of a slave farm community here is...
Yep.
Thorfin has an idea of what things to learn about from community building, even though there's some areas here that he would probably be like, and we just won't do that at all.
Well, right, yeah. if/when Thorgil starts causing chaos, and whatever happens that disrupts the current status quo on a fundamental level to where this can't continue, then that maybe these will be the first people where it's there's all these people here. They had a lot of infrastructure to make it work.
Sure.
The infrastructure is gone. What do we do? Right?
Yeah, that's very possible. Yeah, I would love to see the Thorfin and Einar group expand out to include people who are those who are either warriors that lost their way or people like Olmar maybe that aspired to be warriors but found true warriors. And I would love to see Einar also have to wrestle with the idea of so Thorfin,
you can't actually not hurt anybody. Like you're not going to get very far.
Right,
in this
right.
world.
And then it's the whole thing of where they'll have some good old classic disagreements and stuff about how to handle things, and that can lead to some good growth from the both of them as characters.
What if it ended up being something where Thorfin truly doesn't hurt anyone ever?
He's a grappler.
No. I just fold you into a pretzel.
Just sleep. And then they just actually just unconscious. No, I'm not serious. Like, he's strong enough to where...
Yeah, no, like, bone breaking.
No, just restrict the airways. No. Yeah, sleep. Sleep. And then, they go unconscious.
So and
then he wakes
funny.
them up, slap. And he's like, all right, so I'm not going to hurt you, but I just want to let you know.
Yeah. So that would be funny. But no, what I see it being, you're not your father.
Ooh,
but there's someone who is about as strong as your father. And so...
And he's on his own path.
He's on his own path.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but the two of you together, hey, there you go, right? If you guys are working like this, then you don't need to worry about the fact that, I'm not strong enough to hold this person back from violence, right?
Okay.
Because he's here too. And now, how Thorfin would be okay with, Einar then doing violence on his behalf.
I don't think we're going to end up into a story where Thorfin's like, I need to turn away.
Yeah. No, that's not something that would happen.
That feels antithetical.
But that could be the shield that makes it so that he doesn't get randomly killed by like a,
Well, not only that, but I think it could also be a really cool thing where the story doesn't have to be a Thorfin main character all the time only kind of story, because it's a saga. It's not a Thorfin saga. It's Vinland Saga. So having Thorfin go on such an incredible journey that takes the plot in an entirely different direction when it comes to him, you can still have a lot of these.
Right. Canute, at the very least, will take a decent amount of screen time to have, his whole expeditions and things take place.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure of that. Yes. But damn, I hope that the story not only follows through with this, but continues to build on this, because this might be one of my favorite transformations of a protagonist going away from the path that they started out on. Because rarely do the protagonists stay in this. It's usually where they take a break from their path for a season to learn about themselves, but they don't actually fully change. They more of take elements of that time, that season, and then they incorporate it into their old person that's now been reformed and matured. It's like, instead of shattering or dropping the knife entirely, they reforge the knife into a new type of blade.
Well, it is a classic story to have it start with the person who's sworn off violence because they did all of these things, right?
But they find a reason for their...
They rehabilitate themselves, and then they become tempered, and then they find the place where it's no, this is where it is actually needed and helpful. There is something good that can come out of all of this, because when these people need someone to protect them, I will be that person, right?
Right, and there's a big question of what Vinland Saga Season 1 brings up, is basically that can a man like Thor's, or even not even like Thor's, because it's not even Thor's was like Thor's, but just the persona that he carried and the way that everyone described him actually exist in this world, and not just end up riddled with arrows in a boat in a canyon somewhere. And that's the thing. That might be what ends up happening to Thorfin later.
Yep, because you don't even need a Thorfin leverage point either, right? Like, just you're in it's fish in a barrel, right? You can't exactly go anywhere, and they could just shoot arrows in there.
Thor's was going to die the second that whole trap happened.
Askeladd had an idea, and he was competent, and he sought to do harm.
Right.
There you go. It happened.
Yeah. But the idea that if Thorfin commits to this, there are so many people that he is going to influence and change and forever affect in a way that we can't begin to imagine, especially if Einar goes with him.
Yeah.
The idea that he's not alone in this is so huge. That's why I'm interested in the idea of him being a community builder of some kind, because the idea that he doesn't just lead people in a we're going to do things Thorfin's way, but no, people are attracted to what he carries to the point where they want to do whatever they're doing just around this guy. And that feels like what Thorfin ended up creating in Iceland.
So would Snake then be the Askeladd equivalent that does actually follow Thor's?
I don't think I can fully put a handle on Snake right now. There's a couple things about him that are exciting from his potential in the story, but I think those are more just from the idea that he is an intelligent man.
Sure.
And depending on if any kind of conflict ends up coming to Kettle's farm from within or without, I think that's where Snake's immediate kind of relevance is going to
because he's there to protect the farm. So he'll either succeed in doing that, as he has done until now, or he will fail because whatever reason. Yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out my Persona 5 Royal Let's Play on Twitch, and if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.